I'm going to bake a cake.
Why?
Because it's my birthday.
Okay, what recipe are you going to use?
The simple chocolate cake on the Swan's Down cake flour box.
All right.
It's very good, and it's not hard. Baking should not be daunting. It's not that difficult. It's not an exact science. And I think it's a good idea to just have fun with it. It's a great activity. It's a great way to learn how to just relax and have something to show for it in no time. But if you do the preliminary, that probably takes 10 minutes. It probably takes 5 minutes to mix it, and then it takes a while to clean up. But what you can clean up while the oven is baking your cakes, which is about 30 minutes. First I grease the pan. Then I put in parchment paper. I follow the ingredients, all except for the fact that I use dark brown sugar instead of light brown sugar, because I think it gives it a deeper flavor. Okay. Brown sugar is measured differently. You press it down. We had a lady at church who showed us when I was a Sunday school child that God's love was just like brown sugar. You could fill it up, but there's always more because he packs it in. He packs the love in before we get an extra measure. So there's 1 cup. See how they hold their shape? Okay, remember a little bit ago I said that I didn't know where my 4th cup measure was? Well, guess what?
You found it.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So we're gonna have to kind of
You're
pretend.
going to make it up with a half cup measure.
We are. But see, even in the half cup measure, you can keep pressing it down and see you have more. So there we go. There's 2 1/4. Back off. 1/2 cup of Amish butter. You can use any kind of butter, but the Amish butter is wonderful. And turn, oh yeah, over there. Okay. So beat the butter for just a little bit. Then you put in your brown sugar. We're going to break our eggs. My hands are washed. By the way, I wash my hands 20 times in between everything, even before COVID-19. Three eggs. Gotta go wash them. There you go. Scrape your bowl about now, just to make sure that you don't have a lot of sugar stuck on the bottom, because there is some, I can tell. You can feel it. It feels like sand. Beat a little more. The recipe actually calls for adding the vanilla and the soda right now. I sifted the soda in with the dry ingredients just because that's what I was taught in 4-H. Verna Van Dalsum taught us that when we were learning to make cakes for 4-H in the summer for the fairs. This is melted chocolate. 3 ounces of melted chocolate, bitter chocolate. You need to melt it on top of the stove, because otherwise you can burn it if you try, at least I have trouble with that, in the microwave. So melt it on top on over very, very low heat, and then it gets nice and smooth and it doesn't get scorched. For safety, you unplug your mixer when you're going to do something like this. You don't want any surprises. Scrape that into your mixer bowl. And mix in the chocolate. Flour. You have this dry mix here. This is the flour, the baking soda, and the salt. And so you put in about a little over 1/3 of that, and then mix it gently, scraping down the sides a couple of times maybe. We'll see how we do here. Okay, scrape it again. Okay, take a look at what this batter looks like now. See, it looks kind of nice and fluffy. It's getting there. And then I have a cup of sour cream. I've always used cultured sour cream before, but I found today when I made the first batch that it's possible to make your own sour cream by using just cream and some vinegar. So I used 1 cup of cream, shy a little bit, and I put in vinegar, like about a tablespoon. So you put in half of that or so, and then beat it. Then you add a little more flour, about a cup, not quite. Mix that in. Okay, so then we have the leftover sour cream. We put that in. And again. And you end with flour. This is the final installment of the flour. So you've added all the flour and all the sour cream. Okay, now this looks lovely. You think, okay, I have this wonderful cake mix. You have to put a cup of boiling water. When you put it in, it's kind of like the shock, but you just stir it in. And I can tell you now, those of you who were in my French class, you remember you were supposed to go round. That's kind of the same principle here. You just want to mix it and not throw it to the ceiling.
So you don't mix it with the mixer?
No, because it gets so watery that the couple of times that I thought I knew better than the recipe, it was a real mess. Okay, so there's what it will look like when it's ready to put in the pans. Get out of there that has raw eggs. Thank you.
Don't worry, I'm a professional.
Yeah, I'll have that. Anyway. And I always like to put these on a foil-lined baking sheet because then that way it's easy to get them in and out of the oven. It also calls for 2 9-inch layers. I like the 8-inch layers, 3 of them, just because I think that it looks fancier and it's just fun. There.
Don't scrape the bowl so well, please. Some of us like raw batter.
And so then these go into a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes.
Will you put it down, please? There we go. Sorry, folks. She decided to go ahead and make frosting without us.
Melted chocolate, same as for the cake, 3 ounces. And then also like about a half a cup of butter. And the reason, well, actually, I'm lying. Okay, I want 6 ounces of chocolate and about a half a cup of butter. There's that. So I'm going to beat that for a little bit.
All right.
There we go. Okay. So, I don't really have a recipe. There's one on the box, but I usually don't look at it. So, I throw in some powdered sugar. There we go. So it's kind of like a pile of it.
So for people that like to eat frosting, would you recommend making your own or buying it in a little tub in the store?
Oh, make your own. Make your own. It's not too hard. And then, so I added a little bit of salt because chocolate asks for salt. I'll pour in a little bit of vanilla, probably about a teaspoon. And then I'm going to add some cream. Okay, see how that looks terrible? That's just how that looks. We have to add a little bit of hot water, just so we know what we're working with. As I said earlier, this is not an exact science. So a lot of it is just learning as you go. Ah, we're getting there. See how this looks? Kind of like, almost like it's about the right texture, the right consistency. Excuse me.
What?
I said, are you eating that?
No.
Better not be. Okay, now we're ready to frost. Whoops. This plate is the one that was given to David from a family that bought the farm where they used to live. So this is an old birthday cake used in the Spangler household for many years. So here we have our icing. I am not a pro with the icing of cakes. I just do it so that they're iced. There's nothing fancy. Here we go. And now we'll start with layer 2. We got a 3-layer cake. Remember, I had made enough here for 2 3-layer cakes. So I'll spread this around. Even though it's really tender, you can be pretty energetic with it and not worry about it. As you can see, you can go pretty quickly. The trick is not to get too stingy with the frosting when you're doing it on the side because, or really anywhere, because it will pick up crumbs. I've seen such beautiful cakes that people make that have absolutely no crumbs, but I'm afraid that is not my claim to fame. I just kind of do utilitarian cake. And so we have to put a candle. Wait a minute. I'll do this. I did find one solitary candle, and I found this thing that you use to put pictures up in a house. So there we go. Happy birthday to me. Yay.
Yay.